And now, everyone, please put your hands together and give a warm welcome to your host, Michael Taylor.
All right. Welcome. Listen, we got a great panel here today. Everybody on the stage right now is a Hall of Famer. So this is where you want to be in 10, 15 years, okay? All right, I'm going to go ahead and introduce them here in a minute. But let me just tell you a little bit about me. I'm a course director here at Full Sail University. This is my 13th year, and I teach in business intelligence, the master's program, okay? So if you want to talk about that, we'll talk about that later. All right. Without any real introduction, this lovely guy right here, his name is Demo. Hey, he is so accomplished, he just goes by Demo, okay? The next guy here is Todia. Todia, okay? Hall of Fame inductee this year. Excuse me for a minute, but Demo was Hall of Fame inductee, Hall of Fame 5. I mean, so he's rocking it. Our next panel is Brian Carico. I said it right. So Brian was Hall of Fame 10 inductee. Our next distinguished guest, Margaret Haag. Like Brian, Margaret was Hall of Fame 10 inductee. And last but definitely not the least, our good friend, Hall of Fame 3 inductee, Culley Bunker. All right. So I think what we're going to do, right, most of the time we're going to spend together is going to be Q&A. So, we're going to be firing questions at these guys, okay? So let's go ahead. I know Demo's been warming you up. So
I'm ready.
Demo.
Put me in the game, coach.
All right, let's go.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
So with investing in yourself, there's a lot of ways you can go. A lot of us will all speak on it in one form or another. But for myself, to me, that's kind of the thing that really helped me keep going at times in my career where I kind of had to stump. It was a lot of times people were got really comfortable really easy. They just got their job and they was like, like people that I started with. Like, man, I'm cool, I got the job, I'm good, I'll just do my 9 to 5. For me, I was just hungry, like really hungry. So I spent a lot of time researching the gear that I was on. And that little bit of research that I spent early on was kind of the catalyst of how I went from being an intern to being an assistant engineer that eventually led me to being a recording engineer, and then it just kept going. But investing in yourself, I find to be one of the most important things that anyone could do. Yeah. How about you, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And investing in yourself is like a big topic. Like, what does that actually mean? It's a little bit of everything. And to Demo's point, one of the most important things, obviously, is to get good. I know that sounds really simple, but it's crazy important. I mean, everybody here, whether you're doing audio, video production, graphic design, show production, lighting, there's like 1 million media production styles represented within the Hall of Fame group. Probably the one string that's really similar between all of us is how much we enjoy learning something new. Right? And it doesn't stop in school. That's almost like the beginning of learning something new. Investing in yourself is getting really good, and being around people that are incredibly talented, hopefully more talented than you are, because we're egotistical and we rise to the new occasion. So you want to surround yourself with the best people, but you want to keep learning no matter how far you go. And eventually you get into a position in a job where people say, that's awesome, you have a gig there. And literally what I do is I get paid to learn new things. I used to pay to learn new things. Now I get paid to learn new things. So investing in yourself is learning new all the time, and networking, and we'll talk a lot about networking as we go on, because that's like a word that's kind of amorphous, but it's one of the most important things, if not even more important sometimes than your skill set. Yeah.
Who's here for a degree? Who's here for a degree? All right. Who's here for a career? Yeah. Yeah. If you're here for a degree, I mean, everyone can get a degree and you can do what you want. If you want a career, that's what you're investing in yourself, all right? You're here for a career. You're starting now. You're going to go above and beyond what is asked of you in class, all right? You're going to go out and you're going to try to get on whatever extra things you can find on campus. All right, that's the investing in yourself. It continues after you graduate. You know, you're here and you'll be paying back your tuition, and technology is constantly growing. You're going to go back and you're going to take more classes in whatever specialized into you, software, whatever may be related. But you're going to continually be investing in yourself. And what you're wanting to have happen is a return on your investment. And the return on your investment is a successful career.
Before, I'm going to tell you, he really speaks.
Hey, it's her turn.
I just found out. Hold on. I just found out. Tell him what you just did.
Oh, during the pandemic, I came back to Full Sail and got a bachelor's degree. Show Pro 2021.
And scene. Yeah, I'm the same way, what they said. And then also, I was the same way. I went to school for journalism, hated my life. I worked in an office with a bunch of cubicles around and stared at a gray wall, and people kept track of how much time I spent in the bathroom. It was no way to live, you know? So I found Full Sail. I worked at a student loan company, and I moved essentially 900 miles because I went to the website, and it was a Flash website. You remember that? Do you know what Flash is? Okay. And it was animated, and it played music, and it was at the top of the chain, right? And I was so attracted to it, and I was just I need to be there. And ever since then, and change is scary, especially at 26 years old, and I already had a degree, right? I thought that was supposed to be my life. But I was I feel never being scared to take a chance, and change something. Change is super scary, but it's also really exciting because it leads you to all kinds of new, really curious places. I like to call it trying things on. I'm always really interested in putting something on and trying it out and be is this me? Do I like it? Does this feel okay? And then if it does, I'm okay, we'll stay here for a little bit, you know? But yeah, I feel the exact same way.
I've been over here listening to you guys talk about this area.
I'm a girl. Just JK.
Persons over there. And I'm really racking my brain on how to think about how I invested myself. And really nothing came to light. It's just everything. Everything that I did was investing in myself, moving it forward, failing, succeeding. But as I've been in the industry for 22 years now, I find myself finding others to bring in to help me invest in my company by investing in them. So, I've spent a lot of time and energy learning, but now that I've risen to a higher location, I've lost touch with a lot of that learning in wonder and trying to figure out how to do these things. I still do it in certain areas, but when it comes to the artistic and the software and doing that stuff, I look to new people that are in it since they were 5 years old at home when they had computers we didn't have until we were way older. So they live, eat, and breathe it, and I love watching them come up with new ways. I have a recent employee that's just fantastic, Full Sail grad, and I give him tasks. I'm I need to see something like this. He's let me look into that. And a day later, he's sending me tests, and that excites me. That feels like how I'm growing, is seeing this guy grow. So, yeah, I don't know. It was really hard to rack my brain, and I'm it's not just my growth anymore. It's seeing how the people that I hire or talk to or work with grow and lift me up now.
Do you mind if I go again? I just thought of something. Okay, great. I was just thinking about this. I always find someone who's better at what I do, right? Who's better than me, and then I attach myself to them like glue, and then I learn everything that I can from them. Sometimes when someone's better than you, it can be intimidating, but it's actually an opportunity to learn because they know way more stuff than you, and they're better at it, and that's an opportunity of a lifetime.
I know some of y'all got questions. Put your hands up. Just walk to the side. There you go. Yeah, they'll come over to you.
Hi. Do I need to introduce myself?
Yes, you do.
All right.
Yes.
Hey, guys. I'm Zane Ruiz. I'm in Programming 1. and I'm new. I just started. My question is how do you balance investing, time in yourself and helping it versus investing in others? For example, I want to, for programming, I want to study and try to work ahead, but a friend in my class always needs help. So how do I balance like helping him versus helping my own?
I personally, when I help people, that reinforces my knowledge. So hopefully when you're helping him, that helps you relearn and enforce what you're teaching him. So that will build a stronger base for you. It's a really hard thing to time manage something like that, but I do believe, and I know this is maybe the answer to your question, but I believe you helping him will help you even more in the long run.
I mean, for me, that would really depend. I don't want to sound cruel or anything like that because your buddy might really need your help, and by all means, keep helping out. But you have to manage your time appropriately either way. If someone does not run at the speed that you run at or faster, if they're not picking things up as quickly, when I'm friends with somebody, of course, we always support each other, especially if it's a two-way street. I work on a team of about 15 people, and everyone on my team is an expert at something that I'm not an expert at. So what I have expertise in, I will always share, and vice versa, because there's a back and forth going on. That call is kind of up to you, but repeating things, the experience of repetition is really important, and you can think of that as a skill. I taught for years what I also do professionally outside of school, and teaching the same basic topics over and over and over again. At first, it's like, I don't ever want to talk about this again, ever. I don't want to hear it. It's echoing in my brain. Over time, when you do the same thing and repeat it, you start to realize that you're making much deeper connections, even on basic topics and how they relate to other things. So if you look at it as a way of not only helping, but expanding your own information and repetition and experience, that's really good. But in the long run, outside of school, you can't have dead weight. And that's no offense, I don't know the person you're talking about. I'm not calling anyone dead weight or anything. If you're here, this is just a hypothetical situation. Or not. Or not. Or yeah. Yeah.
Hi, I'm dead weight. No, you have to look at it on a big picture size. I just recently had a recent grad on tour with me on Blake Shelton. In the first week or so, maybe I wasn't really learning anything, but the focus was for him to get up to speed, because once he did, he could then ride solo and I could go do other things. So on a big on the micro scale, maybe I wasn't, but on the bigger scale, it was definitely moving forward.
For me, I've been in, I guess, a leadership position for the past 4 years. So, and I actually, because of all of you and coming back here, my newest passion is mentoring young talent in the workplace, and that's because of y'all. But I would say that being adaptable is one of the best things, in life. And I literally, every 30 minutes is something different. I'm doing my own work, and then I'm helping someone, and then I'm doing my own work, and then I'm sometimes just sitting in a meeting to be there for someone I'm a lead for, and listening and keeping my ears open and knowing when they need my help. But I feel it's it will be, if that's what you want to do and you want to be a leader, it will come effortlessly. Don't stress yourself out about it,
As Tom said, no one to say when, though. If it does start affecting your work, then it becomes a problem.
I have a quick question. I want to just open it up to the panel. Talk a little bit about the importance of mentorship and seeking that out when you're just getting started in your profession or career.
Well, that's a hell of an investment, because think about it this way. The real trick to my success is that I've always found somebody that's doing the thing that I want to do, and then I ask them to show me how to do it, and then I do exactly as they say until I find out they're lying or they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Straight up. And I do that, and I jump around. I want to work with the best producer. I wanted to be a producer, so who the best producer to me was Timbaland, so I went worked with Timbaland. Before that, it was who's the best engineer? Jimmy Douglas. So I went and did that at Jimmy Douglas. And then after that, I was who's the best songwriter? Madonna. Oh, shit, I'm going to go work with Madonna and learn how to do that. And then I do that all the time. Even outside of in my business life, I do that. In my relationship life, I do that. I find out, who has a great relationship? You know what? Sandy and Mike have a fantastic relationship. Sandy and Mike, how the hell do y'all do it? Give me the gems. So Find somebody who knows, who's doing what you want, ask them to show you, and do exactly as they say until you find out they're lying or they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, everything that we do is a form of mentorship. I mean, everyone on this stage is not only a mentor, but we're all probably being mentored by someone constantly. In media production of any kind, the amount of information there is to learn over your career, it never ends. Right? I think when I retire, there's still going to be a lot to learn about what I do at that point. That's just the way that it is. You need someone there that can not only guide you, but get excited by your information and vice versa. And that's what networking is. When people talk about networking, they say it's really important to network. Well, what does that mean? It's really not complicated. Do not overthink the term networking. Networking is talking to people that love the same stuff that you do. Like, I know people that are so introverted, they have a really hard time just saying hello to somebody. Like, it's overwhelming just to think of that. Drop that and think about the fact that your person you're talking to is into the exact same thing that you are in a nerdy way, and just go right at that. Right? I mean, I know people have a hard time communicating, but if you want to talk about audio topics, all of a sudden that seems to drip away, and we can just focus on that for a while. So let the topic that you're into be the guide. If you're passionate, I make game sound. So if you're passionate about game sound, even if you don't know anything about it, I'm going to get excited when you talk to me about it, because I can see the look in your face. You want to learn, I want to learn as well. There's an excitement that we get from each other in learning and mentorship that never really ends, and it breaks away some of the inability to communicate if you just focus on that. So always do that. Always communicate with the people that are in the same field as you, and before you know it, you're networking and making friendships, and then people ask you how to network. You're like, I don't know, I just talk to people about what I'm into. That's networking 101.
I only disagree with the talk to people in your field. And the only reason I say that is I've had great success with even audio guys, and I'm a lighting and video guy. So, but we are definitely in the same field of touring. But, when you think mentorship, the next word you should be thinking about is relationship. Because a mentorship is not a short-term occurrence. It should be a long relationship. Of all the grads I have helped mentorship, I mean, we're beyond the mentorship stage. We're now, they're colleagues. So, we're side by side. So think about that too when you're looking and seeking for a mentorship. It's kind of like when you buy a dog. They're cute as a puppy, but it could be a long-term investment. But you got to think about that in mind as well. Culley's cute like a puppy.
Yeah, he's all right. I was gonna say if like to Tom's point about being introverted, if y'all need any help with that, like I can definitely help that in that area, because part of my job is to interview people and ask them really hard questions, like about finances and about health and how it makes them feel. So I'm a master at making people feel comfortable and tell me their deep dark secrets. Actually, do you want to try it? Should we try it?
Sure.
Okay, so
Let's do it live. Why not?
all right, I'm just gonna ask Brian a couple questions. So hi, I'm Margaret.
Hi, I'm Brian.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So how are you today?
I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah. Yeah.
Where do you live?
I live in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, Nashville. That's great. What would you say, like, about living in Nashville? Like, what would you say is, like, your favorite restaurant?
Oh, well, it's got to be Monell's,
Monell's?
Yeah.
What is it about Monell's?
Well, it's good Southern cooking, so that's what I've grown up with.
Southern cooking?
Yeah.
What does Southern cooking look like?
It's all the crap that's bad for you.
All the crap that's bad for you?
Yeah, for sure.
Does that involve bacon?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
And it should.
Everything should.
Did you see what I was doing? Like, did you pick up on anything?
What did y'all notice? What did you notice that she was doing?
Bacon.
Speak it out. Okay, she was going off the answers. What else? Repeating everything else. What else? She was focused on him.
And I also asked him open-ended questions. I tried to keep that. I didn't want to put a hard stop on anything, right? Because the more I ask, the more I'm digging, kind of thing. And then they open up. And that, it's kind of a way for you to, like, feel kind of comfortable with someone, because, I guess on the real, people love to talk about themselves. You give someone an open to do that. Especially this guy, we could be here all day. But yeah, you should go and practice on someone. That's your homework.
Yeah. Any introverts here? Raise your hand. No, yeah, all of us. All of us, yeah.
I will say on the practicing side, I mean, seriously, if you want to practice on someone, get in an elevator. That person is going to be gone in 10 seconds, all right? Hey, how you doing? How's your day? Great, awesome. Have a good day. And second floor, they're out of there. Or you're out of there. But it's a great place to start.
That's how I met Chance.
Oh, in an elevator.
In an elevator. We lived in the same apartment complex. I just started hitting it up. I had a Full Sail jacket on. He's like, I went there. You went there. We're in the Chance. Our Chance.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame Chance.
All right. We have two audiences, right? We have the live audience, and we got an audience online.
we got
we're
questions.
So we have questions online. So let's go ahead.
Proud here.
Can you hear me? Hello. The online community, JVO, wants to know, how do you avoid overthinking through the process of learning and working on yourself to achieve your goals?
Medication.
No. No.
Sleep.
No.
That's a really good question. One little thing that we do a lot, at least in game development, maybe it's a different name in other forms of production, but we do something that's called time boxing as a really important part of our progress. Because a game, for instance, when you're making a video game, the size and scope of a game from the beginning, if you looked at it as a whole, is beyond overwhelming. It's a huge process. Hundreds of people, $200 million investments. It's going to take forever to do it. If you thought of the whole project, you'd be so overwhelmed, your thoughts would never stop. So you have to plan things out and recognize a time box that this thing is extremely important, and I recognize it. It's not starting for 6 months. I do not have the time and bandwidth to consider that deeply right now. So I'm going to put a literal box on the calendar around it, and when we get there, we're going to go there, but you've got to keep an eye on what's happening now as well as the long term. And if you think too much about it, you can get into a corner where nothing actually ever gets done. Sometimes you just got to print it and move on and iterate later on.
I find giving yourself more than one task. If you are on one task and you need to complete it and you get stuck, you are stuck. So if you have more than one task to do, you can set this one aside, clear your mind, go to another task that has hopefully nothing to do with this other task, and then come back to it with a fresh mind. That way, you're rethinking each time you go to a different task or taking a break between those, because I will get stuck big time on some tasks, and I'll either quit, go do something else completely different, or go home and go to bed and wake up and go, oh yeah. That's happened more than once. I literally dreamed the answer.
And it's hard to overthink something when you're on a team, isn't it? I mean, if you're in a silo and working alone, that's one thing. But when you're on a team and you're working with 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe a dozen other people, someone's a designer, someone's got an idea, someone's a producer. We're working collaboratively. So I might overthink what I'm doing, but there's still a goal in mind, and it's not totally up to me. And I can't spend 3 weeks thinking about something that isn't even part of the design or the collaborative feature. You know, like we all do art in some way, but we're never alone. We're working on a collective project, and we're not the only voice. So if you're an overthinker and you can't calm your brain down, remember to wrap it around the design that's in front of you and what needs to get done, and not what you would like to do in an imaginary world that's different than the one that you're in.
Nice. I got a question here. Hold on, I got one right up here. Come on. Right.
All the way in the back. Hi, persons. My name is Martina Mochkovsky. I'm from Entertainment Business. And my question is basically kind of similar to what they just asked, but is how not to be rough to yourself. Because I always listen to people say, okay, you have to help others because it helps yourself. You have to have a mentor, and it's really important to, connect, network. But what happens to me is that I am so mean to myself, and I'm never happy with what I do, even though other people tell me, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm like, no, it's not enough. Ever. And I'm always on that loop of, okay, I want to complete something. I complete it, and then I don't like it. And then people are like, wow, it's amazing. No, it's not.
How's that working out for you?
That's called being an artist. Like it's an occupational hazard for all of us. We all are with you. Like we can't take our own compliments. Like that's a compliment. You got to be just trying to bolster my ego or something. It's a problem for all of us, and I would love to hear more solutions because I have the same issue.
It is in all of us because I think because we all are driven to make something better, and which is great because that's kind of what keeps me driving. But I mean, even personally, I mean, a lot of people deal with, maybe I'm not good enough, or you just got to keep driving and keep pushing, and you want that. People say that's great, that's awesome. In your mind, you think, yeah, that can be better, and that's great. And maybe on the next project, you see ways to improve. All right, you remember, you're trying to, meet the expectations and exceed the expectations of the client, and you obviously have if you're getting that comment. All right. But I mean, live production. I mean, there's stuff held together by tape and staples all the time. Looks great. You're like, yeah, it was barely hanging on. But the next one, that we know how to improve that. All right. So you just kind of have to get that one. Yes, it is. I know how to make it better the next time.
Yeah. Art is never finished. It's left alone.
We got a question right
hold on. I want to jump in on this real quick. I got a whole different take on that. Listen, that shit isn't going to serve you. It really isn't. Like, being overcritical of yourself and stuff like that, just leave that out the door. Like, here's the deal. I know it sounds difficult, and I know I'm making it sound really easy, but I got 2 simple words. You're going to want to write this down, because this is really powerful. This might be the most important thing I say all day. Are you ready? Stop it. Just stop it. That's not going to do anything. It's all good. Like, it doesn't have to be, just like that. Keep it bright and big. No, but all of you, stop it. Listen, it's all good, you're artists. I heard that, I've done that, but it doesn't help with what you're trying to do. It's okay not to buy into nonsense, which is like, I'm the greatest. This is the greatest piece of art. Oh, it's perfect. I'm not saying do that. But I'm saying is, you get it to a point where you say, you know what? This is good enough. I've done the best that I can do. You can only do the best that you can do. You can't do anything more. You can't do anything more. You can't do less. You just do what you can do. So you just do it. That simple. Yeah. Then you keep striving to be better. This is what investing in yourself is about. You're never at the top. Listen, we all have, collectively, we're probably at a century's worth of work experience. And every one of us will sit up here and tell you, man, we still got a lot to go. Yeah. Like, that doesn't stop.
When people say you've made it, I dread the day that someone says, you've made it and you're done. Because then what the hell do I do next? I don't want it. So, I mean, that's what drives me. And so you don't want to be there. So stop trying to get there because you don't want to be there. Because once you did it, now what? Yeah. All right? Because you want that. It's a good thing. And don't characterize it as a bad thing.
And that quest is what you use. It's what we all use all the time to get better at what we do. That's the energy and the fuel that you use. But ultimately, it's not just an art form, the things that we do. It is a business. I have a client that I need to serve. I have a deadline that I have to meet. I have a team that I have to manage. I have a budget and a scope where everything has to get done through that direction. So if I get completely crazy about that and don't think of it properly, it will never be accomplished. So there's the art side of us, and then there's the business side of us, and you can't let the ADHD, the OCD that most of us have about our personal art form get in the way of actually getting across the finish line. Because the first album, the first video, whatever you make, the first one you're going to look back at and wish it was better. You're still going to feel that way on the 50th one that you do, but at some point it has to be put to bed and you need to start the next project, because it is a business and we're not going to do well if people don't hire us again. So timing everything out is crazy important. It's almost as important as your skill set.
I was going to, person to person, I turned 40 this year and I'm the cool. Hey, thank you. Hey. I am an absolute queen of self-deprecating thoughts. Queen, like literal queen. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not fit enough. I've over the pandemic gained 20 pounds. Every single day when I look in the mirror, I hate myself. There's a moment of that in a day, and it never goes away. Self-love is literally one of the hardest things. But to Demo's point of stopping it, all that self-deprecating behavior or thoughts of thinking to yourself that I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, it was replicating in itself in every single relationship, romantic relationship I was having. They were treating me exactly as I was treating myself. It was I was asking for it, right? Because that's what I was putting into the universe, right? It's exactly what I was getting in return. As soon as I switched that, I took time. I took time with myself. I did what I needed to do. What that looks like for everybody in this room will probably be different. For me, it was I'm not lying, medication and therapy and a lot of reflection, you know, and a lot of doing stuff and boxing, weird stuff like that, right? But yeah, like I'm not happy with my body, but this is the first time in my entire life that I love myself. And because of that, I met someone, you know, like in a relationship that treats me the way now I treat myself, you know? So he's so right. You don't want to project that because you don't want it in return.
Yo, shake somebody's hand on your left and right and say, you are good enough.
Yeah, you are good enough.
All right, we're gonna go up. We've got a question right up here. Let's go ahead, take it away.
Daniel Rose, music production online. As a 37-year-old husband and father who's kind of late to this game, how do you navigate a career change while maintaining financial stability? Like, I don't think I'll be able to like do a internship, financially. If any of you guys have any insight into that.
Wow, that's a really good question, and I would like to say I have an answer to it, but all I can say is from my experience and what I've gone through is I did an internship, and it was 3 months unpaid, and I had no money saved at the time whatsoever, and it was extremely rough. I actually slept, it's not a joke, I slept for months in an Oralex foam box. It was basically the size of a large coffin underneath someone's dining room table in between studio sessions. I would close the box up and sleep in there. I had no money at the time. I would actually eat bagels out of the studio kitchen, which we weren't allowed to touch the food as an intern, but that was all that there was. So I'd drink coffee and eat bagels every single day. There is a hard grind to it. If you're already past that point, the really important thing is to maintain your personal relationships and to know that no matter how hard you work or how far you move backwards financially before you go forwards, because there are those periods, you need to respect the people that are in your life because they're the ones that are going to get you through it. There's no chance I would be where I am right now if it was not the overwhelming support of my wife, who has been there through all of the hardest times, never quit on me. She's always involved. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be that. If that relationship is just with you yourself personally, just start there. You know, there is a grind to what we do, but it does get better. You do get past that, and you just have to acknowledge, as a studio engineer, that's how I started in the recording industry. At first, the idea of an internship was just overwhelming. I had no car, no money, literally nothing to go on. Somebody was nice enough to let me sleep in their dining room under their table for a while. But you will get past that, and all the people I looked up to, I thought, okay, Quincy Jones, the huge industry icons, a lot of these people started in the exact same internship thing. You know what I mean? So remember that. You're also on a path where all the most successful people went through that exact same thing. And no matter how hard you work, just remember the people around you are what's going to typically get you through.
Go ahead.
I was just Tom reminded me of something really funny. Somebody's like, how do you sit in a room full of VPs and just not care? You just say your mind and speak what you feel. And I was like, because I know sometimes he gets diarrhea and so do I. So like, we're on the same playing field. You know what I mean? But like, people are just human, you know? Everyone's human.
Yeah, what you want and you desire is all attainable. Let's start there, all right? I'm letting you know it's attainable. I travel 280 days a year, touring all over, doing concerts. I have a wife. We've been married 23 years. I hope I got that right. We have 4 children, all right? They've turned out normal, somewhat. Margaret.
We're not married, but
Yeah.
we're good friends.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's attainable. What you want is an obtainable goal, and the reason I tell you that because that's really a big part of it. I remember when I came here to Full Sail, I grew up in West Virginia. There was not anywhere near the entertainment mecca of the world, all right? Unless till YouTube came along. But what I'm saying is it's obtainable. I want you to know that because I want you to keep reaching for that. Your wife, like Tom said, is going to be your biggest strength for sure. I hope that relationship is great for you guys because she is going to be your biggest pillar. My wife is living the dream she never had because she's taken the sacrifice to let me do things that I've done. And now that I've in a spot, we're moving back to her, but that's a choice that we both made together. So it is obtainable. Keep going for it.
I do believe one thing you all, not just you, have going for you is right now, this is the best time to be in media ever. Yes. There are so many jobs out there that can't be filled or are not filled. It's insane. When I got out of school, there was hardly any jobs. You had to go live on couches. I lived on a futon under a flame for a year to learn that box. Right now, there are so many opportunities. If you can't find a job, please speak to somebody, because there are so many out there. Nobody can find employees right now for anything in media. It's so wide open. So just keep moving forward.
I actually got another side of this too, because I actually did the opposite. My relationships went to shit, all of them. I've lost a marriage over this. Like I've done it. So I'm gonna give you all the shit not to do. And some of y'all want to write this down, because at some point you will be in that situation. Is first thing is you gotta understand that your priority to be great and have this great career also affects them. And managing your time. So if you're going to go and you have a spouse, correct? Yeah, if you have a spouse, he might or she might be able to go and spend 12 hours a day focusing on this thing. You might only be able to do 4. You might be able to do 8, meaning you have to, those time that you have, really put in the work. But time with the people you care about, the relationships you want to improve or keep improving is important. And second is having some kind of end game. Like, you got to give them a carrot. You know what I'm saying? So they're invested in what you're doing. I didn't do that. I just figured, oh, well, my wife's an artist. She'll understand. Shit, I'm trying to crush shit. I'm trying to be the top ever. She was totally not at that place. So what happened? Whoop, put some distance, and that's it. So you need to have a carrot for them. Listen, I'm working really hard at this because, you know, once I get this internship, or once I get this job, it doesn't have to be internship, once I get this job, with this additional income, we're going to vacation for a weekend, you know, we're going to go to Disney World. Who doesn't like Disney World? Like, you know what I'm saying? So you got to have a carrot, and you got to have some time.
If you just tell them that your success is their success too, and appreciate their support, it's going to be better.
Just get them involved. Does that help? All right, great.
All right, we got a question up top there. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ryan Hipple. I'm a music business student. As a 20-year-old college student, what are some tips you guys have for increasing your drive and speeding up your internal clock a bit in a professional setting?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Tricks to improve your drive.
Oh, yeah. I got it real simple. My entire career has been built around this one thought and this one desire. I have an extremely strong desire to not suck at what I do. That's it.
Good one.
I don't want to show up at the workplace. I'm going to do the homework before I get there. You know, I don't want to, I want to always be prepared as best I can. And that's what it all comes down to. It's that simple for me.
I absolutely love to procrastinate. Nothing gives me more passion than 10 minutes, you know, before something's due. I still do it. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning to get something done for a 9 a.m. meeting. I still do it. So for me, it's like too much time. I can't. Like, I have, you know, like ADD or whatever. I just need a time box, 30 minutes. I haul ass, and then it's out.
I am pondering.
What's going on in there?
I find that having something totally opposite of what I'm doing, like a hobby, can inspire me in different ways. With family. Like, I go out and I do these different things, and I'll find that I'm thinking about work and how to improve it while doing this other thing. So it kind of opens your mind, you get in a different mindset, and you're not so in the grind. So I don't know, it's just a random thought. Like,
No, it's good. Yeah. And for me, it's projects. Because at your age and my age, we're older than you a lot. And but when I was 20, what I learned is that I could read and I could practice and I could study and I could ask people questions that are in my field. But I learn best when I have something that has to be accomplished. So it's easy to consider a theory, but if you've come up with a small prototype or a mechanical project that you know needs to get done, and in order to finish it, there's a bunch of things you're going to have to learn to get there. That's what I set my sights on. Because in a silo on my own, I could just go play video games and eat Cheetos and ride a bike and just not work. But if I know I've decided I want this thing to work and I'm going to give myself 1 week to make it work, now I have to unravel all the mysteries of getting across that finish line. And if I don't, I feel like I've failed myself because I didn't finish a project. And it's the worst thing you can do start projects and not finish them. Because then what happens is you start believing internally you're not capable of finishing things. Even if it's bad, always finish it, wrap it up, move on, and it becomes like an armor where you know, I'm going to do this until it's done, and I'll learn whatever I need to do. Work with other people too. When you're working with a partner and you find something to work on together, your ego naturally wants to do as well or better than they are on it in a friendly kind of way. Where sometimes we don't push ourselves as much as we do wanting to not be the one in the back of the pack.
Yeah.
Do you eat Cheetos while riding the bike?
Actually,
all day. Okay, cool.
I'll give you mine. Mine is just when I got into this, I just kept imagining what my dream was, my goal, and I just kept making it more and bigger and bigger and bigger. Man, I'm gonna work with Jay-Z. Some of y'all heard the story. I made a list. It was like 7 pages long of all the artists I wanted to work with, and I put it up on the wall, and I would look at that every day. And I would always ask myself in the morning, like, if someone call up, yo, man, I lived in Miami, so people are like, man, let's go to the club. It's like, damn, that sure sound nice. But then I would look at that. Then I'd look at that list and be like, man, that's one day less, 1 hour less, whatever time less that I'm not using to get to that, and just tunnel vision on that. And it took like 5-6 years to get to that. One day I found that list, man. I knocked everybody. Shit, I knocked off Michael Jackson. He was dead already. He was knocked off the list though. I worked with him, so shit, you knock off dead people if you work on it go long enough. So yeah, no.
Yeah, no, hold on. We got students online that's got questions.
Online, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Stop it.
David Utt would like to know, taking it back to networking, how do you change a networking conversation into a potential job? And what do you call it?
Potential what?
Job opportunity.
Oh, I've done this many times, but the key is don't ask for a job.
Yeah.
The key is to be personable, find out what their interests are, find like interests, and save it for a later date. Don't ask for a job right up front. Like, you do that? Oh, cool. I do that. I want a job. No. Oh, I do that. Okay. Quick story. I was at a screening for Kubu in the 2 strings or 3 strings or something like that, and there's a guy behind me, and I just kicked up a conversation. Found out he's a visual effects supervisor. I'm like, oh, I do visual effects. Let's talk sometime. Got his number. 2 years later, I'm working on Westworld. It was a long play. It was a very long play. I have so many long plays.
What did you do?
Because I try to be a friend first before I try to interject business. So I was friendly with this guy, interested in what he did. We had like interests, but I wanted the job. Don't get me wrong, I wanted the job, but I know if you're going straight for it, you're gonna knock him out. You wanna create that friendly environment so they want to give you that job, not that they want to get away from you.
Yeah. I would completely echo that. Networking is not about trying to get something out of someone that you want from them. Networking is joining a community. It's building a relationship and a friendship. It's really that simple. The people that meet you and start to trust you over time and see what you're capable of, one day they have a gig that they cannot handle, but they know somebody who can, and they like that person, and they've been around and they've been part of it. A lot of my best jobs have been from other people that were not available at the time that handed it off to me. And then if you see that project through, that other person knows now you're in a circle of trust where they can rely on you, because that means whoever this client was, in Game Sound, when you have a client, someone comes to you and trusts you and wants to actually give you some money, if you can't handle it, I need to keep that within my fam, right? I need someone in my extended crew to do that project if I can't, because that client now knows if I can't handle it, I know somebody who can, and that's going to be someone that keeps coming back over and over and over again. And a lot of them are long play games. My best client, who I'm still working with 15 years later, the first 3 years we worked on free projects together. Like nothing interesting happened out of it, but we got to know each other. He's now one of the bigger independent game producers in the world and has called me for all of his projects. And it started as us just really talking smack and playing games online.
So many like that. I met a couple band members here at a Hall of Fame. Became friends, talked on Facebook. Whatever that is, talked on some kind of social media thing for 2 years. And just eventually they had a new album coming out and was like, hey, I'd love to write on this to direct. And I don't direct hardly ever, but they gave me the chance and created one of the best pieces of art I've ever done. And that was and I didn't even think that would ever happen, but it was just becoming friends with them. And then, long play opportunities present themselves from long play networking.
I have like a little bit different perspective. I mean, I'm gonna say like yes and kind of thing, but there's like passive ways to do it as well. So I'm like always team follow back on like Twitter. You know, like if you follow me, I'm like, cool. You're a designer. I'm a designer. I'm gonna follow you. You know, like that whole thing. And it's led me to like, I wouldn't say like it's led me to opportunities with other people, right? Because if you're posting about what you love and like talking about it and like that whole thing out on the social and like, you know, posting your work, stuff like that. Anyway, I'm saying all of this to say I have a connection with someone on Twitter that I've literally never talked to in my whole life. And 2 weeks ago, I like went on Twitter because I don't really go on social media anymore, but I go on Twitter, right? And I saw like next to his name it says like looking for opportunities. And I saw that and I messaged him and I was like, what's your level? We're hiring, send your stuff over. Unfortunately, he had another offer, but like that's just a passive way that like someone I've literally never talked to, I just know is like a cool personality on the internet, is also a designer who was looking for a job, and I thought of that person.
Nice. Here.
Hey, I got a quick question. Well, I'm going to make a comment, and I want you, Tom, specifically for you, but any member of the panel could answer this. One of the experience, and I thought it's relevant, I had was one of my classmates who sat with me during my business school degree, and we didn't have a lot of interaction necessarily, but a few years later, he called me up when he heard I started my own business. And he said, I've got some work here, and I think you'd be the perfect guy to do it. And so I want you to talk about that, you know, people that you've been in classes with, or maybe even seminars or trade shows that know you, but never really interacted with you, but come back and said, yeah, but I really respected you. And that's what he told me. He said, I valued all of your contribution in the classroom, and I know one day we'd get a chance to work together. Talk about the role that might have played in any of your experiences.
Yeah, well, I pretty much echo what you just said there, because what you're discussing is networking, and whether it's a classmate or someone that you meet on Twitter and you just communicate back and forth, I think to me the value in those relationships are super important, but also just to echo what Culley said and repeat that because it's true, just do not go in for the kill. When you're networking, you're meeting people that are in your field and you're getting to know each other and you're building each other up in terms of your information and how you swap things back and forth. I've never seen a job personally or a gig come out of that in a very transactional kind of way. Like we start talking like, cool, you got a gig for me? I've never heard that work out and happen in that way. It's always later on when a gig opens and they consider you as someone that's probably available for that it really happens. When I was teaching here, I had a student really quickly, and really hardworking student, and this guy showed up to class every day in a full business suit. Here, full business suit, looking as sharp as you could possibly look. That was impressive. It doesn't mean anything to me because in my industry we don't dress that way at work at all, but it reminded me of what he was probably capable of. And there's a game gathering downtown in Orlando, and he said he wanted to do game development for audio. I said, well, there's a bunch of independent game developers every month that get together downtown. I always tell students to go, just walk in, talk. None of them do audio. You do audio. They're going to need you at some point, and just chat with them. He showed up one day, and I was surprised because none of my students ever bothered to actually go down and show up. And I was there with my son, who's a great little gaming nerd as well at the time, and this guy walks in, full business suit, tie, just looking amazing, in a room full of game developers. These are people in sweatpants and shirts with stains on it, and they've got 180 IQs, but it's off-putting right away. And he brought a briefcase full of resumes and a beautiful leather briefcase. And he was like, well, I'm gonna network. And he walked around bringing a resume to independent game developers asking for jobs on the spot. And I had to pull him aside and I was like, whoa, you're scaring all of these people really bad. And here's the thing, everyone in that room wants money, so it doesn't have to be discussed. Of course you want a job. I have a job and I want a job. If you got a job that pays a lot, I want that job. You know, so it's almost something that doesn't need to be addressed directly because we already know that's what we're all thinking in the background. But and he had a hard time communicating with people too outside of that. And my 10-year-old son walked him around because he's an extrovert and walked up to all the producers and said, this is my friend. I'm going to say Billy because I don't remember his name. This was a long time ago. And he's a 10-year-old holding him by the hand and walking him up. This is my friend Billy. He does audio for games, and he thinks you're making a really cool game. He wanted to talk to you about it. The person would say, oh, cool. And he'd walk out, and I'm watching a 10-year-old network at that level and doing it right. Don't ask for a job. Ask them what they're doing. That's amazing. I saw your artwork. Tell me about it. Where'd that idea come from? 5 minutes later, You're exchanging emails and notes, and they like you because you're talking to them about what they do, not asking what you can get out of them directly. That comes later. You know?
Nice. Yeah, there's a question up here.
Hi, my name is Mamao, film bachelor's degree. So Tom, you were talking earlier about when you're doing a project, you want to put in your best not to fail. My question is, if you fail at something, whether it's a project or anything, how do you get the courage to get up and push forward?
Oh, well, you have to think of that as part of what you do every day. I mean, failure is part of success. I know that's it sounds like a cliche, but it's 100% true. At EA, we literally have a motto that we repeat all the time, and it's called hurry up and fail. And we take it really seriously because you can have an idea all you want, but until you try it and see if it's going to work out, all it is an idea. So we try to get all of those things out right away, nosedive, fail, put that aside. It's not a good idea. We're not going to do it. And eventually you end up with something new and creative that really works. So if you think of failure as like a knock, you're not really going to get all that far. If you're trying and you're thinking and you're making something you've never made before, failure is also a word that you have to quantify. Like, what does failure mean? Did you learn something? Did you know how not to do something at the end of that project? That's not failure. That's a learning exercise right there. I would love it if every idea I had, I just did it and it worked and it was magnificent and I didn't touch it again. I think that happens maybe 5-10% of the time I'm working at the most. Most of it is failures and going down avenues and then finding eventually the right path because of it. But if you're afraid of failure, you never really get quite to the yellow brick road, down at the end.
Yeah, and the time you're here, I mean, this is the time to fail. This is the time to fail a lot because you have a support team to help show you and how to improve. I mean, don't be afraid to fail. Just go out there and try it because that's how you're going to learn. I learned from pain, so I've had a lot of pain in my life because I'm not real smart the first time. But that's me. I want to go, I want to try it, I want to feel it, and I want to know why that's wrong. My parents say, don't jump off the roof of the house. Well, why? I mean, why not? So I did it. And I didn't break my arm, but, it hurt. So I was like, well, yeah, you're right. I should not jump off the house. Now I know. I got it. I got that vibrant feeling. All right, I'm not going to jump off the house anymore.
I experienced when my, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay, go ahead.
Only 3 weeks ago, I had one of the biggest failures I've ever had in 22 years. We were given a job, thought the job was going to be easier, got thrown into a meat grinder, and just had no idea how we were going to deliver, and we didn't. They pulled quite a few of the shots back, and that's really, I've never not delivered. But, that's on us for taking a job that we should have saw was a meat grinder, but the only solace is I chucked it up, learned that I should look at the job a little closer and assess the situation. I mean, I might not even get paid for that, but I have to pay my people. So that's a learning experience for me. And after 22 years, I still had to learn. So it was painful. But we move on.
So kind of like Brian a little bit. I am the queen of foot and mouth syndrome. Like constantly, I don't have I'm kind of like, if you've seen Golden Girls, like I'm Sophia, and like that, the part of the stroke portion where I just say whatever I'm thinking happens, Literally up here, I said something earlier and I'm still stressing about it in the back of my head, thinking I failed. I'm failing in real time with you. And, you're like, where do you get the courage? It's literally just keep pushing forward because as I'm looking in the mirror, in an hour from now, that moment, that 10 seconds isn't going to matter anymore, right? So it's just push forward a little bit. I fail literally all the time, so you're good.
And if you can ask for help, ask. Yeah. If you see the failure coming, try to do everything you can to ask for help or bolster it up or just bob and weave. Hey,
let me
bobbing and weaving.
Let me get to this question here because we're running low on time.
I wanted to say, sorry, if you work for a company and they or anyone and they punish you for failing, that's a red flag. You should be able to fail and get paid to fail.
Yeah, this look like we're about to wrap up, but I'll leave it off with this. Fear of failure. Who has a fear of failure? Put your hand up. Let me see it. Quite a few of us. This helped me out when I learned this acronym. When you think of fear, look at it as a fantasized event that appears real. See, in your mind, I'll say it again, fantasized event that appears real. Yeah, you want to write that shit down. Write it down. Don't try to memorize it. But here's the thing. You have a fear of, I'm going to apply for this job and I'm going to get rejected, right? Right? That's something common. Here's the deal. You haven't applied for the job yet. Meaning you haven't got rejected. You see, it's like if I say to you, I have a fear of asking her out to go have lunch afterwards, right? And I never ask her out to lunch, right? Now, here's the deal. If she says no, do I lose anything? Of course not, because I didn't have anybody to go to lunch with beforehand. You see? You didn't have a job beforehand. So the idea of this fear that we're going to fail is ridiculous. So remember, it's a fantasized event. It hasn't happened. It just appears real. So make it unreal. Okay? I know we got to wrap up here, so I'll toss it over to the man.
Well, we're going to wrap, but let's give it up to our panel. Thank you all for coming today, and hopefully you've got